Hey there, this is Real Talk Baseball. I'm Carlos Baseball, and with me, as always, WillPower and Tony Snap. Today, we're going to talk about the sleepers. We haven't finished the first baseman, so we're going to go ahead and continue with our topics here. And we'll go ahead and start with Will on this one. Give us your sleeper here, Will.
You know, my sleeper, I had this guy a few seasons ago, and he really produced for me. And he just hasn't been the same since then. He wasn't very good in his first couple seasons, and then he had a breakout season, and then he wasn't very good in the last couple. But I really think that he's due for a little comeback, especially new scenery. He's on a new team now. He's on a better team now, and that's Josh Bell. You know, coming from the Pirates, one of the worst teams in the league, kind of down there with like the Giants. It's not very motivating being on a really bad team, you know. And I think the move is going to be really good for him, as we talked about in on our previous podcast. I think it was like last weekend or something with Javi.
Yeah.
I think that Josh Bell, like he's going to be happy, and he's going to be excited to play again. In baseball, when you're having fun, that's when you kind of produce a little bit better.
Yeah.
The saying goes for baseball, just let the kids play, and kids just want to have fun and go out there and do the thing they love. And I think that that's what Josh Bell kind of needs to kind of break out of this little slump that he's having right now. And I think he's going to come back bigger and better and stronger.
And you said it. You said to change the scenery. Maybe he does need that. And a lot of players go through that. When they're not playing with a good team, they produce good numbers. Imagine what they would do with a better team that has players that get on base for him. He had some breakout years with Pittsburgh. I mean, the batting average wasn't all there, but on base percentage, that's something you look for. It's there. And then you're looking at home runs. You're looking at RBIs. They're pretty up there. They're good numbers. They're not terrible numbers. And like I said again, these are numbers that with not a really good team. The Pirates are not really that well known for producing home runs and RBIs and all that stuff. So with the Nationals, I think that's a really, really good sleeper you mentioned. And like you said, we talked about him last show with Javi here. And what do you think of that sleeper, Tony?
I actually had him as one, like a potential sleeper. But just because where he was going, I felt like just for the purpose of this video, more of a sleeper for me was Joey Votto. Yeah, I like where Josh Bell is going, and I like what he's done in the past. He's a 25, 30 home run kind of guy.
Yeah.
So he is pretty much a sleeper because he's going in round 100 or I'm not round, but like he's ranked like in the top 100. Yeah.
He's going like round 15.
Yeah. So
that's pretty late.
Yeah, but I went even later than that, which was with Joey Votto. I like him as my sleeper just because in the past he has been really good. Former MVP, for multiple years, not just like or an all-star is what I meant, multiple years. But I feel like Joey Votto is a veteran guy, and I really wanted him to kind of come back to what he was, 30 home run kind of guy. I feel like he's a sleeper just because he's going in the later rounds and the super later rounds, because a lot of people are putting him not even in their top 10 as first baseman. And I kind of personally don't put him in my top 10 either.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's a great sleeper just in the first base position. He can still probably get you 25 home runs this coming season if they do play like 150 games, 160 games,
Yeah.
So I like Joey Votto a lot. I like Bell a lot too. But just as far as sleeper goes, I would rather have a little bit more way back on. If I'm like looking at it as a sleeper for a first baseman, I would definitely pick up Joey Votto a lot.
Before you do Josh Bell.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't pick up Josh Bell either. That's just kind of my train of thought.
Yeah.
Josh Bell is really good. I like him. Last 2019, I think he had an MVP season. Kind of. I don't think he was the MVP, but like, I think he was in the mentions.
Yeah.
Joey Votto is just a little bit better for me. You know what I mean?
And he's been in the league for 14 years, and you've seen his numbers, like every year he's been producing. It's just the last few seasons, which was the 60-game season. Like again, we keep saying 60-game season, or I keep saying it, right? Because it's kind of hard to determine those numbers, right? It's really hard to determine a player's value by that season. You at the 2019, and he wasn't really that well. The 2018, which was the good year for him, which was one of his last, good seasons. But I see what you're looking at, and I see like the career that he's had in the big leagues. Like he's had good numbers, and as a sleeper, I think is something really good to have. But again, you have players in Cincinnati that's not getting on base for him either. Mm-hmm. So those are things that you're looking at.
That's one of the things that's the issue with me for Votto. I understand why you have him as a sleeper, but it kind of goes along with what you said in last week's episode when you said, "What have you done for me lately?"
Exactly.
And which is why he's not in our top 10, right? But and why you have him as a sleeper. But I feel like if he was going to break out and be like the player that he was before, he should have done it this past season when they still had Trevor Bauer, when they actually had a chance to make it to the playoffs.
I agree. But at the same time, last season he had 11 home runs. 2019 he had 15 home runs. 2018 he had 12 home runs. So I kind of did see a little resurgence in him. I'm not saying he's back to his former self,
Yeah.
But 11 home runs with a 226 batting average.
Hey.
Yeah, it's a little.
So it is some pop. He's definitely one of the older players in the league. He just had his age 36 season. So that means that going into 2021, he's going to be 37 years old. That's really old to be a position player, Sometimes pitchers can have their careers last a little bit longer, depending on, how many innings they've thrown in their career. But 37 years old for a first baseman, when this guy has played so many games, it's not just about the years that he's played, but there was a lot of years when he played almost every single game of the season. That's a lot of wear and tear on the body,
Yeah.
And 11 home runs, that's great in a 60-game season, especially because, like you mentioned the years before when he only had 15 and 12 in a 162-game season. Yeah. But it's just the thing with Joey Votto for me, in a categories league, he's a one-tool player. He's only going to get you on base percentage. Now, that one thing that he does, that on base percentage, is amazing. He led the league in walks for like 5 or 6 different seasons. He always has an amazing plate discipline. Yeah. Doesn't strike out that much. He walks a lot. That's kind of like his claim to fame. Yeah. He gets on base, but then the problem is there's no one behind him to hit him in. Who's going to hit him in? Moustakas? Other than that, who else do they really have?
Yeah. And this is a great point. He is I think he's a great sleeper only because of what you have done for me before, right? We're looking at that little.
Well, he's going in like the later rounds too.
Yeah.
He's like ranked in the bottom 200. So I feel like he is a good pickup. Just I really go for like consistency.
Yeah.
And the last 2 years, maybe he wasn't as consistent as he was, but that's not to say that he's a bad player. His batting average for like ever now has been like roughly a little bit like hovering around 300.
Yeah.
I think he has a career batting average of like 304.
304.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Which is really good, dude.
Yeah,
exactly.
304.
Like I think he's a good pickup, and for the past years, I've always leaned towards more Votto. I always, if I see Votto like a little bit later where he should be getting picked up, like let's just say he's in right now, maybe he's probably like round, let's just say like 18 to 20.
Yeah.
If he's in round 20 and he's still up there, I'm definitely picking him up because there's not a lot of players that are around that same caliber. Maybe the only thing that comes to mind is maybe like Daniel Murphy, who has like maybe the same type of player, who like, what have you done for me lately? The past few years haven't been great, but we know what they're capable of.
Yeah.
So I look at Joey Votto as like a great steal, a good sleeper.
So in a 12-team league, his average draft pick is 329, which means that if it goes that far, he's getting drafted in the 28th round, which most leagues don't have 28 rounds.
Yeah.
So he's a super deep sleeper, because that type of guy, you can just pick him up off of free agency if he gets hot. You don't even have to waste a draft pick on him, which for sleeper wise, that's an amazing sleeper to have, is someone that you can just pick up off of free agency,
Yeah, that's good though. That's good you're saying that, because I know Joey Votto, just the name itself, if someone's throwing it around with a bunch of baseball players, they're going to be thinking Joey Votto. Oh, Joey Votto's still there. So a sleeper. Yeah, he's always going to be one of the top players because of what he did previous years, right? So and like Will said, maybe not even going to be picked up in the rounds.
I know the average draft pick is like really late, but you're always going to have these diehard baseball fans that are going to pick up Joey Votto. They're going to be like, oh, I need an extra first baseman. Let's click on first base and see who else is available. And then they go down the list, and then they see Joey Votto, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe he wasn't drafted earlier. I'm going to go ahead and pick him up. He's definitely going to get drafted. I think that he's going to get drafted in every 12 or 14 team league.
Yeah.
Even though even though his ADP, it really isn't until like the 28th round, I still think that people are going to pick him up just because, like you said, just because he has that name, Joey Votto. The name Joey Votto is like synonymous with greatness. Everyone knows the type of career that he's had. He's 37 years old, and he plays for the Reds in the Central. And I think that's really I think he's done, honestly, personally, in my opinion. If I had one pick left and I saw him, I'll be like, nah, I'm gonna get back date.
I'll just wait. Well, I mean, that's why it's a sleeper, right? He's a sleeper. You don't have to draft him.
Exactly.
You don't have to pick him up on the round, but you could just see him. If you see him in the free agency, you're like, oh, he's still out there.
And he's going to be the starting first baseman for the Reds.
Yeah. So he's going to get you games in. And he's going to get you at bats. He's going to get you RBIs. Going to get you home runs. Well,
home runs won't get you too many RBIs.
Yeah, he's not. But he's going to get you. Well, on base percentage for sure. He's up there. Sure. Yeah.
This is crazy. Will Smith is going. He's ranked 212, while Joey Votto is ranked 201.
Wow.
Yeah, I would much rather have Will Smith than Joey Votto.
Yeah.
Are you sure that's catcher Will Smith? That's not pitcher Will Smith?
No, it's catcher. 212. I'm looking at it right here.
Wow.
Dude, AJ Pollock is going 210. He's ranked 210.
Is that fantasy rankings or?
These are fantasy rankings. I'm looking at
But you're looking at players that don't play every day. Will Smith doesn't play every day, right?
He doesn't.
3-4
yeah.
And then you're looking at AJ Pollock, that he's probably playing like 3-4 games.
Yeah,
that's true.
So that's
not even at all
with Peterson. But now Peterson's a free agent, so we're probably going to see a lot more playing time from Pollock, especially the way that he played this past season.
So then you have Joey Votto that's going to play every day. He's going to.
Yeah, that's true.
That's look at right as a fantasy owner and a fantasy team owner. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you can put him in your utility, and I think he's a good utility guy.
Yeah.
Or maybe even a bench guy, someone who doesn't like let's just say you pick up Cody Bellinger, and at the end of your last rounds you pick up Votto. Cody Bellinger doesn't play. Throw Votto in there. Yeah. I think
at least Votto will like get on base a couple of times.
Get you a few points in a few. Oh, okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, that we reached to the end of the show. Anything you guys want to add before we go ahead and sign off?
Nope. Excited for second base.
Cool, man.
Yeah. The only thing I think Will's crazy. How do you not put Abreu as a bust who has been so consistent? This guy who talks about consistency is what you've done for me lately, and
on base percentage.
Look, man. Like honestly, I'm gonna tell you guys, I had Abreu a couple seasons, and those couple seasons, he didn't play the way that he has in most of his career, and it kind of just left a bad taste in my mouth. And after that, I don't know, man, I just kind of downgraded him in my own personal rankings.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I mean, every fantasy team owner kind of has that like one or two players that they had on their team before that they're just like, I'm never getting that guy again. And for me, I wouldn't say that I'll never get Jose Abreu again, because if he's still available in like the beginning of the 5th round, I'll definitely swoop him up. But to pick him up in the 3rd round, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to pick up a guy that let me down in the past.
I agree,
know
man.
I'll be shooting myself in the foot, you know, but that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, Joey Votto has been so great for me lately, like the past years. You know, that's probably why I picked him up too.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good. Hey, that's good. You guys gave us all that knowledge and everything that you guys have. That's really good. Because, I mean, yeah, I've had some players too that I picked up, and I'd say I'm not going to pick them up ever again. And there I go. I pick them up in the 1st round. I don't want to do that. Like, I want to stick to what you guys are saying. You guys have a lot of knowledge on fantasy baseball. You guys are champs in your leagues, champs in the league we have, which is really good. Like, that's why we have you here giving information out to all these other people that are trying to play fantasy baseball, or they're experts in fantasy baseball, or they're just 3rd year, 4-year rounders going in again, like me, playing fantasy baseball, or just, you know, like to play fantasy baseball. I like to play fantasy baseball, but I don't ever win it because I have these guys in the same league, and you know, I'm never going to win it with these guys waking up
Maybe next year.
morning. Now I'm stealing their tips, so hopefully that will work.
Hey, every dog has his day, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, as Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, that's WillPower, Tony Snap. I'm Carlos Baseball. This is Real Talk Baseball. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. And this is Real Talk Baseball on YouTube. Make sure you guys subscribe as well, because I didn't say that at the beginning of the video, but make sure you guys subscribe and hit that like on the video. I'm Carlos Baseball again. Real Talk Baseball signing out.
See you guys.